Hello and welcome to this program, Sports on Saturday. In this program, we get to interview sports personalities from various disciplines. Today, we are in Marondera and we are here to meet a soccer legend who has seen it all in the field of soccer in Zimbabwe. We are in the Garden of Eden in Marondera, which you can also hire for different functions, weddings, church functions, company functions, and all sorts of things. You can also get in touch to hear more about this garden, which is available to anyone. It's not about the garden today, but it's about the sports personality that we have in the program today. He is a hero. He has seen it all in the field of soccer. And he is none other than Ernest Father Chirambadare. He also has so many names. Welcome to the program.
greetings. Thank you very much. Blessings.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be on this program. Yes,
we are going to be speaking in different languages.
That's
Shona
fine.
or
Very
English.
well.
Patrick Mboma.
Yes.
What comes to your mind when you hear the name Patrick Mboma?
Patrick Mboma, what comes to my mind is a legend of Africa whom I had not heard of until I played against him.
Yes.
And scored 2 brilliant goals against me.
Yes.
Despite the fact that I had performed so well, he actually destroyed us with those 2 goals. Very powerful shots.
Yes.
Which were his trademark.
Yes.
In all his playing career. I was not the only one who faced that. Really and truly, yes.
That's why I started with that name, Patrick Mboma.
Oh, yes, a legend, yes.
Yeah,
I did more research on him after
yes,
that. And I got to find out that the goals that he scored against me were actually typical of him. And he was a very powerful man, very strong,
and they were
very
long
humble,
range.
long range shots. That's his trademark, or was his trademark. Yes, from whenever he started playing, I saw his videos, and actually saw myself in one of those videos as one of those goalkeepers who was being outdone by his screaming. Oh, very powerful. Yes. And surprising. It was all it was catching us by surprise, really. But the power in his both legs, because he scored with the left and then with the right, just to show me that there was nothing I could do to him, whether it was his left or his right.
As a goalkeeper, right.
I think also he had an ability yekuona kuti ininiwo ndinenge ndisiri prepared, mostly not that I wasn't prepared, but I would be organizing the others, and he would take that chance whereby ndinenge ndisina kumira at the right position, because if you look at my goals it was like keepers they would get to the point where bora parapfura napa, but a second or 2 seconds late. Meaning kuti I had just a split second ahead, which made me improve. Because after that I actually improved myself, because I had to work on that, because it is a science, you see. So I had to go deep into it and say, hang on, how could he? Because I had never had such shots, in one game, 2 goals from one individual, and from a distance that long. Those are long range. Those are really called long range shots, because I think it was just by the arc or inside the arc of the center circle or something somewhere there. I don't know if the videos are still there of that game, but I would really love to watch them. But I did my research and I actually improved myself from that, just like I did with every other match and every other goal that I would concede. I would go back, do more training. You remember we used to work together, we used to train together. When we were there at that ground there, it was serious business. When we are here, we joke and play and talk and laugh. But when we were there, it's...
You are reminding me of something. There were times that when a striker comes face to face with you, you used to catch the ball during training. You return it again in his feet and you shoot it against you. You catch it. And where was this coming from?
Because it's training. So I had to make it look realistic, because during the games it would happen, and most people would say actually during the games, you remember as well, that I actually would catch the ball and throw it to the striker, and the striker, because would try and score, and I would subconsciously, with that third eye, would see and know where that ball would be going. You see, and I would atone my so-called mistake, but it wouldn't be a mistake, But there were some which were mistakes, but there were some which were deliberate. Because it was mostly, I was an entertainer. I was not just a footballer. You remember that. Yeah, I would love to entertain. I love to entertain. So I'd love to play and also entertain. So I love to watch people smile and clap their hands, and it brought this, it's an excitement, and the atmosphere would just be ripe. So I would do my things proper.
Yes, I'm talking to Ernest Chirambadare. He's a soccer legend. He was a comic in his own way, during those days. I don't know whether you were taking it after someone. I remember Brenham Siska also used to do silly, nice things.
Well,
who was your model?
My model growing up, my father was my model.
Right.
And then obviously my brothers, because I have two brothers.
But in terms of when we
yes, coming up, yes, I was getting to that one.
Right.
When growing up, I never really had locally. It was Bruce Grobler.
Okay.
Why? Because when I was growing up, he was a Zimbabwean and playing for Liverpool. You see, and just his being attached to Zimbabwe made it okay for me to support him and be a follower of him, and I enjoyed the way he did his things. Although we didn't get to watch so many matches, it was big league soccer then. Whenever we did get to watch him, he would do some antics. It was natural. It came natural to him, and they actually called him the Clown Prince, if I remember.
Yes,
of England. Yes, because he would clown. They would call him a clown, but he wasn't a clown in the sense of just a clown, but a clown who knew what he was doing.
Yes.
So for me it was natural as well, but seeing him doing it, playing in Europe, made it easier for me to say, hang on, I can do that also. So yeah, you can say he was my model. I modeled my play around him. And I think if I've got a few newspaper cuttings where some reporters would actually say, like a leaf out of Bruce Grobler's book of eccentrics.
Okay.
Comparing me, that's an honor.
Okay.
Just to hear that, just that alone. That doesn't necessarily mean that I was as good as him, but to be associated with that great man, because 13 years he was the best in Europe. We shouldn't take that away. People don't realize the history behind. So that's where it came from.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ernest, for affording us this interview. We really want to know your background. When were you born? Where did you grow up?
Right. I was born in Bindura on the 27th of February, 1970.
Don't say that. I'm also a Bindurarian.
In that police camp.
Yes. Okay.
That Bindura police camp. My father was.
Hospital.
My father was a cop.
Okay.
Was a policeman, CID section. So I don't have so much recollection of that place because I was young. Obviously, maybe we left when I can't remember. I'll have to ask my mother and my siblings. But I don't remember. I don't have recollection of Bindura as per se. But because my father was a policeman, he was always getting transferred from here to there. So he got transferred to Kadoma. So from Kadoma, that's where I actually have a little bit of vivid knowledge of what was happening then, because I was a little bit mature then. I was in grade 1, 2, 3. So I can say I remember that. Yes. So that's where I was born, and I'm a fifth child. The 5 boys and 2 girls. So I'm the fifth of the 7, and I have 2 elder brothers. Or 3 rather, 3 elder brothers, 2 who played, but mostly people know Stanley. But there was one between me and Stanley. For me, he was the best of me and Stan put together. But he used to play for Zimbabwean Thomason Shepherd. But he wasn't so much into football as the way we were. But he was a fantastic player. So yeah, I have a younger brother. Yeah, he tried being a goalkeeper as well. He was a goalkeeper. but he didn't go far. He liked to be with using his hands, mechanics and all these things, so he went that way. So yeah, that's basically where I was born and grew up in Kadoma until about grade 3.
Do you remember the school you were at in Kadoma?
It was a police camp school as well. That police camp, when you're going to Kadoma, the one on the left, when you're going into to Kadoma, yeah, it was the police camp school. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's where I actually, when I can remember, you know, from my memory, you know, when I actually thought goalkeeping was an interesting thing, because there was this policeman who used to be a goalkeeper, and the way he used to dress, because he used to dress differently. So I was young, grade 3, grade 2. I was very young, but I would sit behind the goal and just watch him, you know, do his, you know, I don't know whether he was good or bad, but I just enjoyed, because I didn't know anything about goalkeeping. I didn't know anything about football. Just knew how to run around with the ball and, you know, stand there and all these things. But the intricacies and the mechanisms of it, I didn't grasp it yet. So I can picture that if right now, being behind the goal with my hands, you know, lying on my belly like this, you know, just watching him, you know, wearing a brown, I remember it's with a brown jersey and a yellow, gold rather, not yellow like your t-shirt, but gold shorts trimmings, you know, with the black trimmings there. So yeah, and then we moved again. My father got moved to Harare. That's when we came to Harare then now. I was in grade 4. Stayed in Highfield, in, what you call this, they call them 12 pounds, Mangwende Drive East. So I went to Jipembere Primary School for grade 4, and as I was in grade 5, my father bought a house, or he bought a stand in Lochinvar, and then he built it, and then before I finished my grade 5, we left for Lochinvar. So I started going to school, Lochinvar Primary School. That is where it all now materialized.
Right. Tell us about it.
Well, because the school was not so far away from where we stayed. So we'd walk home after school and then eat our lunch and then go back to school, just like every other school children used to do then, and go and play around, just be at the high jump area. You know, they used to put sawdust in there. So we'd be there, you know, doing heading tennis, you know, where you heading and then catching, and, you know, we like to dive because it was soft. So we'd throw balls and we'd dive. We didn't know, I wasn't saying I'm a goalkeeper or anything, but we were just doing it, just playing. It was just a play,
yeah.
But not knowing that it was actually preparing me for what was to come. So I enjoyed diving so much. So we'd master it and we'd try to outdo each other, you know, with that little tennis ball. Remember, it was a tennis ball. And sometimes we'd make the plastic one, but the tennis ball would come in handy because it was always there. The plastic, you had to keep making. So yeah, it was grade 6. I was at Lochinvar. Now I was playing for can't remember whether it was under what or what, but I was playing for some school team there. And then end of grade 6, I was in the reserve team of the school.
Were you playing as a goalkeeper? Or?
I was a goalkeeper all right through. But my brothers will tell me now, Stan, because they know better the history, because this is, I'm telling you what I remember. But when they say it, because I used to play in infield, I was a right back. That's what he tells me. But I don't have a recollection of that. So I always say to him, okay, yeah, fine, you're number 2. So I was closer to number 1. I was meant to be at number 1. So if I was number 9 and then coming to number 1, it would have been a question mark. But now playing right back, number 2 and number 1 is close. So I was a defender. So goalkeeping is defending as well. So yeah, so I was a goalkeeper from school all my life. So that's all I remember. But I knew I could play. I could play infield, but there was so much that was needed when you're playing infield. You had to be always on the move, on the run. So I was a bit lazy growing up as a goalkeeper. I remember if there are other players or other colleagues or other acquaintances that used to be around, and they are a few, they can testify to this. I used to goal kick, and then I would come back and sit sit on the pole, just waiting. And the ball is coming. Then I get up, I go and then I kick, and then I just watch. And I was lazy. I was lazy. To me, it was laziness, but I didn't know what I was in because I just knew I had to be here, wait. When the ball comes, defend. Just make sure it doesn't go in, or try and make sure it doesn't go in. And then when it goes, when they're up there, it's their own thing. I don't even have to tell anyone what to do. I didn't know all these things, communication and all these things. These were later things that I actually incorporated later when I got into it. But then, I was always a goalkeeper, and I was a goalkeeper now because everyone, when they were choosing their teams, they would be fighting for me. In schools, they would say, "No, he's ours." They would, and like when we were playing locally as young boys, we just forming a team, a small team, maybe 6 out of 6 or 7. They say, "Ernest, someone comes and say, yeah, I'm the captain, and this one is the captain, but he wasn't captain, but he's the one choosing for this one, and this one choosing." So he'll say, "I'll pick him," and so everyone would say, "Oh, he's mine, he's ours," and that's how I started having this knowledge that, hang on, must be something about. I didn't know, you see, but it started coming in there, and it manifested itself until I'm sitting here right now. You see,
as a legend,
as a legend
goalkeeper.
Yes, we were born legends, but we have to be nurtured right, and we have to be disciplined. We have to be focused, and there's so many motivation. There's so many things that go with it. So these things I had to learn as I was going through, because I was very fortunate that I had brothers who were actually football players. So I would hear. I never really did get to see them play when they were playing in schools, because my brothers were in Kutama. So I would hear from others who had brothers who were, they say, "Oh, your brothers, oh, they're brilliant, oh, and this, and later on I did get to play with the one I come after, Shepherd. I didn't get to play with 10 when we were playing locally or money games, no, but with Shepherd. And he, as I said, he was the most brilliant of the three of us.
Let's go back to the primary and the times when you were playing street football, right. Gweshe. The moments that you remember so vividly when you were at primary in terms of playing football, whether you won trophies or you were beaten by other schools.
Right. I can say what I remember. Well, I'll give an example. At Lokinva Primary School, we had gone to Kambuzuma. I don't know which section it is, but that road, when you're going to Mfakos, there's a Kambuzuma Primary School that's just when you come out of Rugare.
Section.
There's a Jurao just close to the main road, and there's a primary school there.
Right.
Can't remember which one. So we walked to go there. I was in the reserve, so we played our game. We finished. So we went up. There's a little hill. So we went up there. We were just playing, just being children. So we're playing up there, and the first team was playing. I wasn't really into football, as in, say, the first team is now playing, I'll go and watch and sit and say, oh, look, we're beating them. For me, it wasn't like that. I was just, when I was playing, that's when it was football.
Okay.
When others were playing, I'm not interested. Not that I wasn't interested, but I didn't know, because it was something that was the only thing that was there for us to do then. There was no TVs, there were no internet, there was, it was just playing.
Yeah, that was the only form of entertainment.
Yeah, so I went up there, so I heard my name being called out. Yes, everyone was calling, because we were at the top, so you could see Rugare, and when you went up that just a little hill, you can see still there. And when I pass through there, sometimes nostalgia, it kicks in. So yeah, I'm thinking, what's going on? So I ran down. So I went there, and the first team goalkeeper had been injured. So I was thrown in there.
In the first team? For the first time?
Yes, but I don't remember what happened, whether we won or we lost. But that's what I remember, whether we were losing or we were leading, or if I made saves, or I don't have a clue. But all I remember is they called me from up there, and I ran down. And then I was told, you must go in there, he's injured. That's all. And then it happened again. So when I went to looking for primary school at grade 6, my father got transferred again. So we went to Mtare. So I was at Mtare Junior School. It was predominantly European, if you recall. So I remember in our class we were only 2 dark people. I won't say black because the other two were Indians, Asians. And one of them became my very good friend, Malik. Can't remember his surname. You know, it was grade 7. I was a bit mature now. I can remember certain things now. So I got there, and our teacher then was Mrs. Murphy. I remember her vividly because she's the one who taught me how to swim. And I became the school champion of the school swimming team, and I became champion of the school tennis team when I got there because I was multi-talented. It wasn't just football, because growing up in the police camp then there were so many activities. You know, they would have tennis courts, they would have football pitches, they would have so many things that we would, as children growing up in there, we had these things at our disposal. So there were rackets, there were nets for the tennis court. So it would be just playing, not knowing that, you know, we were actually doing something. You know, we weren't saying I want to be a champion when I grow up, I want to play for this club or do. And it was just playing. It was what was just
enjoying yourself,
just enjoying and wilding up time, and sometimes getting into trouble because would be told come back at 3 and then we end up going home at 7 or 6 and then, you know. Yeah, so got there. I think 6 months we were there in Mutare. So I got there, I became the champion. There was the champion of the school was called Bruce Hay. I remember his name, I remember him, and all the girls were after him. You know, these young European girls all after him. So when I played him, because we had to play preliminaries, so I played on the preliminaries, and then we met. Me and him, we had to be, because we were the two champions now. So the champions had to meet. So I beat him, I think 2 sets to love. And that was it. And we played again, and I beat him. And then just to confirm, because they could not believe that a black boy then, because remember now we're just coming out of the struggle. This is 87. We were very young. Struggle. So there was still this racism thing going on. So my father threw me in the as they would call it, the lions den. Yeah. So I had to defend myself. I had to stand up for myself, and they got, you know, not in the sense that I had to fight them physically, but mentally and spiritually. So they started respecting me. So I became an idol there, but only for 6 months, and then my father got transferred again back to Harare. So I went to Southampton Primary School now. So that's when I finished my grade 7. I was a goalkeeper there as well, even at Mutare Junior School. Although I didn't get to stay there as much in Southampton, just a few years, and then obviously went to Lord Malvern for secondary school, and that's where he started picking up now from that primary now. It was a bit more serious now, because I was getting to you know, this is a secondary school where you get to meet all different types of people coming from different areas. So I could see others and hear about others. That one is a very good player. Oh, he used to play for this. Oh, he's from Highfield. He's this. He used to play for this. And you know, that's when my mind was started being shaped.
Okay. Now you are at Lord Malvern. You have this experience of playing tennis, this experience of swimming, yes, football as well.
Triple jump,
long jump. How did you choose what you wanted to do at secondary school?
Well, at secondary school, we didn't have a choice at the beginning, because every Form 1 that came, you had to be tested whether you were good at 8 or 5 kilometer marathon. So every Form 1 would be, you know, exposed to that. You would be expected to participate. So there were others those who were good at it, and they loved it. I didn't love running, you know. I didn't enjoy running, especially long distance running. So I did the course with the others, but we were at the back, so that we weren't considered. We knew obviously that if we were at the back, we would not be considered. So that was.
I now see where it comes from. I remember when we were playing together at Blackpool, you always used to run behind us.
Yes. But I would make sure that I would be there. You know, I would finish the course. You see, I wasn't the fast runner. Yes. I wasn't that wasn't my strongest. You see, so I wasn't going to force myself to be something that I wasn't. So I would just pace myself and just do it to the best of my ability. So just like it was a marathon, and then basketball, cricket, rugby. It was the same. Every Form 1 you had to take part. It was mandatory. It was mandatory, right? So Rugby, I was very good at it, and they wanted me to stick around, but I didn't like rugby because it was a bit
Physical?
too physical. And you are running towards a guy, and this guy is looking at you, and you want to go through him. And I was good at it, but I knew I could do it. And if I had put my mind to it, I probably would have gone further, or I could have gotten injured early. Like others that I know, Malcolm Furry, if you remember him, he's there in the UK. He's a friend of mine. Yeah, he now works with a limp. From school. He got injured at school, and he's been like that. He's got this limp for life. So he actually had an operation back there in the UK. But anyway, rugby, cricket. I could play. I loved cricket. I loved betting and all this, but I found it boring. Having to wait. You like when you're fielding, you are standing there, and that one is standing over there, and you have to wait, and the ball, this guy is hitting this ball that direction all the time. He's never coming to my side, and I found it boring, but I could play it, and they wanted me to play. So somehow I would find ways to come out,
dodge,
for them to not say, where is he? And but for rugby, I remember Dry, because Dry, he was the headmaster there. He would come, and he was the one taking the swimming school team. Yeah, so we were Form 1s, and we were forced to go there. Now I had been a champion over there. I knew I could swim, but now having the headmaster as your, imagine now having a headmaster as your trainer, and Dry was Dry. His heart was dry.
Serious man.
Dry, yes, and he was a racist. I'll say this. Growing up now, if ask Temba Mliswa, I went to school with Temba Mliswa from Form 1 to Form 4. We were best buddies, so he can testify to these things. So anyway,
are you the one who recommended him to come to Blackpool?
That time to train us?
Yeah.
I actually don't know who did, because when he did come and he started doing all those things that he was doing to us, I would say to him, listen, I'm tired, Shambada Neta. And they say, Shambada, you always go Shambada, you don't say, not Temba, because I knew Temba is into physical, and it was all good. But I would do my best because I was the captain then. Now it's Blackpool, so I had to go with the flow, but not as he wanted it, as always, because he was into physical training, and it was good, and it gave us results, so many results there.
Yes, we are still at Lord Marvin.
Lord Marvin, yes. We're digressing a bit out there. It will happen a lot, yes, because there's so much to say.
I know.
So we're at Lord Marvin there now. I managed to dodge the swimming team. I managed to dodge the cricket and the rugby. I think rugby and soccer, they are played same term, if I'm not mistaken. I think, because first term is it's athletics and all these, and then second term is for football mostly, ball games they call them. So during the first term, I would try and make sure I dodge, and I'll be there at school, but dodging, never really participating. I was not. That's when basketball came in. I'd never bounced the basketball before until I went to Lord Marvin. Because basketball, for me, when growing up, coming through Southerton, Lochinver, and Mutare Junior School, it was always associated with Europeans and coloureds. Then, the time we were growing up, because always you see coloureds with basketball, they're always playing basketball, doing basketball. So I never really paid much attention to it until I went to Lord Marvin. Then as a class, I remember our teacher, Mr. Martins, and there's still a picture of me and the other team players of the basketball first team at the Lord Marvin. Yeah, the office is still there. This day, Conrad Chikoto send me those pictures, the soccer one and the one for he took phone pictures and he sent them to me. Yeah, so he asked us if we had ever played basketball. This was a class PE, where there's PE, where there's PE classes.
Physical education.
It was actually there were actually lessons. So for me, I found it very easy. I just like I did with swimming when I was there. I didn't mention that one, but it's the same thing that I did when I was asked in Mutare Junior School whether they would say those who have swum before go over there, or those who have played basketball over there, those who haven't. So I would always go with those who have, because swimming to me, looking at it was easy. I'd never swum, but I said I can do this. So same with the basketball. So when it came to Lord Marvin, when I was there, he said those who had played. So I went to the side where those who had played before.
Even if you didn't know the rules.
I didn't even know that you when you catch the ball, when you hold it, after bouncing it, you have to keep it for 3 seconds and you have to pivot on one leg. You cannot just keep running like you were running with a rugby ball. I didn't know that. And bouncing, I didn't have the rhythm. I was actually slapping it. There was no rhythm in it. So that was, but in my mind, I knew I could do it. That's where it starts, you see. Everything starts from the mind. So it's only now that I can reflect and say, hang on, it was meant to be, because I knew I could do it, and I actually ended up doing it and actually playing for the first team when I was in Form 3. You see. So yeah, so I started dodging other sports, now going for basketball. So after school I would stay, because I used to come from Lochinvar by bicycle to Lord Marvin waterfalls. So
you were very fortunate enough to have a bicycle.
It was my mother's bicycle. It used to be my mother's bicycle when she was still a young girl then. So my brother had used it then, and my sister had used it. So it now come down to me.
How difficult was it to learn to ride a bicycle?
It was very easy, because we were coming from the
Ernest, everything is easy for you, Ernest.
There were so many. These policemen, they all had bicycles. These big black ones, black beauty. So they had this chimutanda. Yes. So would sneak in. So the balancing. The triangle, the Pythagorean theorem. Now we are applying it now, and now balancing. Now and from the side and balancing. So. And this side would get on this side of the leg, the chain. Yes, if you didn't have that chain guard, yeah, you get grease all over here and you get into trouble going home. But that's why I say it was easy. It didn't mean that it was easy for me, but it was easy because there were so many bicycles around. My father had a bike, my mom had a bike, everyone they all had bicycles. So it was easy. So would practice. So I would cycle from Lochinvar to waterfalls, Lord Marvin. I don't know, maybe about 5Ks or so, something like that. I didn't know it was part of my training as well.
Say that as well.
See, it's only in reflection now later on. Say, hang on, there was a bus, school bus. I could catch a bus from Lochinvar, go to Southerton, catch a school bus from Southerton to Lord Marvin to school. But I found it very not boring. It was boring as well. But we always got to school late, because it had to come through Houghton Park and then pick up the students and this. So by the time we got to school, we were always having to run from, because the main gate was so far from the main. So the headmaster would be standing at the gate and say, "You monkeys!" You used to call us monkeys, eh? Right. "You monkeys!" And everyone would start running and having to go home. I had to wait now for the bus to go catch, that one from town, and then town. It was all a long process. So basically, it gave me time to stay at school, do whatever I wanted to do, and know that I'm late, I must cycle 15 minutes, I must be within Lochinvar, or 20 minutes. So so the bike gave me that leeway where I could just do whatever I wanted to. So I would stay after school, go to the basketball, go and sign out the basketball, go in and just start bouncing and doing this and just trying things. We didn't have videos to watch Jordan, but we knew about Jordan, but we didn't get to see him, So just doing things and just playing. We're just playing.
Experimenting.
But it wasn't playing, because you got to see that in my football, in my goalkeeping, the basketball. That's where I would throw the ball back at someone, I'd bounce it, I would do certain things. I wouldn't just catch it. You remember? And those who, it was that schooling of that basketball thing that was within me already, because I was very good with my hands. Not just bouncing things. I was very good also at farming, because at home we used to do a lot of farming. So it was also part of it. So we used to grow our own food in Lochinvar, because Lochinvar was an area where it was railways, remember, and there was so many empty stands. So we'd just clear one and just plant our own potatoes, sweet potatoes and vegetables. People used to come from Highfield everywhere to come and buy our vegetables from our house and from other houses within Lochinvar. So it was all preparation, my hands, and because I remember now, later on we had to be told, you have to go to the gym, your wrists must be strong, your forearms must be this and this. They were already strong because of the physical that I had been. You see, so nebadza saka ndo pandaizongoita a bit and extra on the others. You see, those things. So others would think maybe no, because I would have that extra, which they didn't have, because I used to go to school on bike. So spring was already there, because on the bike you have to be on your toes, and you're cycling. Even in the gym they have these little bikes now. You have to build up your calves, you have to build up your thighs. My thighs and my calves were already built naturally. So when it came to now playing football, it came natural. But then even at school, I wasn't schooled in the technical side of the goalkeeping. I was just a goalkeeper. I just knew I had to do my things, and people would clap, and people would come around behind my goal every time I'm playing, and they sit there, and then when I change, they come. So I always knew there was something, even when I was playing for later, still at Locking for primary school, playing for Grand Tigers. I've mentioned to you Blooms, Superpower Chemical FC, Costain. I played for Costain.
Yes,
the construction. Yes, actually promoted from Division 4 to Division 3. And I played for Lonro in Glenview as well, promoted from Division 3 to Division 2. And
Lonro meant what?
Lonro is London Rhodesia. I got to know that later on. I said, hang on, this is what it So we're still under that yoke, and I'm sure we're still under that yoke. Anyway, the only division I didn't play for, as I mentioned to you before, is only Division D1.
So did you start playing for the division when you were at secondary school or
primary school? Primary school.
You were already playing for.
Because we were training always at Looking for primary school, doing what we were doing, and Costain would be using that ground for training. Grand Tigers, Plumes, they would all come, so we would just be there, and they would not have as many players, so we would be playing on the other side. So be a goalkeeper for the other. Their main team would be on this side, and I would be on the other side. So in the end, they would say, you come on Sunday. We are going to so and so. I remember so many places. I traveled so many places. With these teams. I was at primary school, and then at secondary school as well. So but at secondary school now, I was more into basketball. I love basketball so much that I would be there. Even weekends I would go to school, just to be, because that's where the courts were.
Right. You were in the first team for the basketball. Any tournaments that you remember that you won something at Lord Melbourne?
They know those from Churchill, Prince Edward, St. George's, Peterhouse. We used to come all this way, Watershed. If they remember, they will say, I remember him. He used to be great in this. Because whenever we played, I remember our coach for the basketball team was Darlington Masenda. Remember him?
Yes.
Know him from Radio 3. He was at the University of Zimbabwe then. I remember our team. I got into the team same way I did when I was playing for Locking for primary school. We had been at Alan Wilson school, and I'd been in under 16s or 17s, I can't remember. And we'd finished our game. If you recall, the Alan Wilson basketball courts are also attached to the soccer field. They are just same place. So after the game, we just went to start playing with the good turf, good lawn. So we're playing our football over there, doing whatever we're doing. And then I had my name called again. Okay. You see, scenario from. So I came running, and I was given. We used to wear red vests. So I was given one red vest, and I was told to go in because one player had been hit in the elbow, with an elbow in the neck, and he couldn't turn. So I had to fill in. So I was thrust in there. So it was just a new game to me. So I was just grabbing the ball, making sure I bounce, and I give it to those. I will defend, I get it, I just give it to those. But from then on, it was history. From then on, I was the first team player now. So that was where the catching was. So coming now to football, it was easier now, because in basketball we're trying to grab the ball, all of us with hands, and now come to football, I'm the only one using my hands. You want to use your head, and you're telling me you're going to get the ball before me. When you're using your head, and I'm using maybe my hand. I didn't have to send them both. I'll just send one. I can delay. So it was a learning curve, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that my father got transferred, and when he was getting promoted.
On the one hand, I remember even the soccer commentators say, Ernest Chirambadare picks the ball using one hand without much ado.
Yes, because it was natural. It was natural now, because the basketball. Remember, the basketball is heavier. Very heavier than the football. The only difference is that now when the football is coming, it's coming at a different pace. So there has to be timing. See, so I always tell people that I was scientific. When I played goalkeeping, it was more scientific. It wasn't just ordinary goalkeeping. It was more scientific because I would recall walking from Warren Park, lifts coming to whatever hotel, whatever place we're supposed to meet, having people coming to me and say, I'm actually going to Faro. So many people would say that to me. I used to get that when I was playing in primary school, you see, and now I was getting it. It wasn't something new to me, but it was now because I was mature now. So I would say, hang on, these people are coming to watch me. You know, it could affect one's play. Remember, also saying, hang on, there are people in there. They're actually coming to see me, and what if I do this, and then they feel this and this. So I was able to get that over because it's all mental. You see, so I was strong in that aspect because I had played all these divisions, non-divisions, Division 6, division. Remember, there used to be Division 6 and non-division leagues, and there used to be actually a league or a paper. The newspaper, the Herald, would have all the leagues, the non-leagues, and the time we were growing up, every club, no matter where it was, they would be written there. Yeah, so I played for all of those except Division 1.
Let's start from when you started playing professional football.
Right. That is when I was still playing at Lonro. Right. We got promoted from Division 3 to Division 2, and we played that year, and we were meant to get promoted, but I didn't know the machinations of the football, so we were just listening. I didn't know anything about the politics, as it were. So Pro Neutral got promoted to D1. So the season ended. So the following season, we were meant to go back to London, but then Blue Line Aces had just returned into the Premier League because they'd been relegated before. I didn't know all these things because I wasn't following football that way. But so my brother came with the other guys in Lochinvar, and they said, let's go to St. Peter's, my trials, just like we used to do. You know how it was, So I was lazy. Remember, I was lazy. So walking to St. Peter's, I thought about it because it involved walking and a distance. But obviously everyone was going because it used to be, back then it used to be my brother and I, Charles and his brother Lawrence, this one and his brother, or maybe 3 brothers, Back then it was, because that was the only thing that was there for us to do, football, if you were boys. So we went as pairs of brothers. So we got there. I remember vividly when I got there. The first team was standing in the center circle. They were all wearing black tracksuits with gold trimmings, written Blue Line Aces at the back. And to me, they looked so smart. So, I was mesmerized.
You were attracted
too much. It had nothing to do with me saying I want to be with them. No, I was just saying, wow. Was I was used to Division 2, Division 3. We didn't even have a tracksuit, we didn't have all these things. We just used to
could even play with one shoe, one football boot, or without shoes.
Nothing, without as long as you could do it,
Yeah.
So I was looking at them and wow, this is interesting. So we were separated. Goalkeepers of one side, I think we were about 15 to 20 goalkeepers who had come in. Obviously the other players. So we did our warm-ups. And then after the warm-up, we were told, goalkeepers, go behind that goal, specifically that goal. So we went behind that goal. So those guys who were standing in the middle of the center circle, they're given balls now. They've done their warm-up. The first team, Blue Line Aces. So each goalkeeper now was asked, now, you go in. And then this one would go in, do his thing. So I was there in the back, waiting my turn. This one goes in, they're shooting, they're laughing, and everyone's laughing, and it goes. So my time came in. And then I went there. I remember vividly, after 2-3 shots, heckling. There was heckling from the center circle. This guy was just on me, at me, because I was a little bit chubby then. I used to be chubby. Those who know me, who grew up with me, I was chubby, but I had the the flexibility. So he would call out, hey, Davi Jojo, so me, I'm thinking, hang on, this guy doesn't even know me, I don't even know him. Why is he on my case? What have I done to him? I'm thinking, and it almost got me disengaged in my, but I just went on with my thing, So it's after the training, Steve Kwash was the coach, Blast Steve. So he came up, he was calling out the names of those he wanted to stay, who had come in. So he started with the field players, and then when it came to goalkeepers, he just said, you come back, So it was like, whoa.
Me?
You see? Just like that. So I started going there with my brother every day, because my brother was the other one who was from Lokinva. We were 3 of us. Only out of the 11 or 12 of us who went, the 3 of us were the only ones who were asked to come back. So I started going there and just learning my paces, just being there. It was just an honor just being there. I was now in a different league now. You could see it was different from Division 2 and all the other divisions now. There was a bit more professionalism, if I can call it professionalism. But I could see. But we had to walk every day to St. Peter's and from. And it was a scary part now when we had to cross from Toronto. That where Willowville Motor Industry.
The Green Eagles area.
Yes. Tobacco sales floor. It wasn't there before. It was all bush. So people used to get mugged and murdered there. So going to training it was okay, but coming back, you'd have our boots in our hands, grab a rock and something, so that if anything happens, but nothing happened to us, ever since that time. So kept going. That was 88, 89. Yeah. And Emmanuel Nyahuma was the goalkeeper, obviously, Shumba. And his reserve was Levin Chulu, the late. For me, just playing for the reserves was an honor, because we would play the first game, obviously the reserve game, and then I would get to sit and wait, especially at Gwanzura. The changing rooms are just, in the ground is just so close to the terraces. So I would sit just right close to the changing rooms to watch all the Willard Kumalos, the Ephraim Chawandas, the David Mwanzas, these Stanley Sinyon Dundumas, the Jafet Tumparuzas coming in. I used to hear them on radio. Now I could see them. So it was, for me, just playing for the reserves was a ticket to come and see these, to see them in person and say, wow.
A free ticket.
And I'm looking at them. These men, they were strong, fit to go see their thighs, strong men, and I'm thinking, wow. But I never entertained an idea of saying, oh, I want to be like him, or I want to play for the first team. That, to me, I didn't have that. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe others did have that same feeling at that time, because we would just express ourselves the best we could, and whatever happens, it was just if it would happen, it would happen.
You were just playing to enjoy yourselves, not to aim for anything.
I wasn't saying I want to play for the first team, I want to be this. No, it wasn't like now, or what these youths are going through now. It's more taxing on the mind, on yourself too, because you want to challenge him, and he knows you want to challenge him, and he's doing his best. It's like boxing now. So I was just doing my things, slowing down my paces and just going through learning, observing. And it so happened 88. Comma Steve asked me to come. We used to work at in sport by Ernest Terrace, just in opposite the post office. He asked me to come tomorrow. He said, you must come tomorrow. I want to see you tomorrow. So I asked Mariku Bagunana mine, and they gave me. So I caught a bus, came to town, walked to Ernest Terrace. So when I got there, this is later on, because Mick Pull, I didn't know him. But when I got there, he was there. Okay. And later on, I got to find out that he would always be there. I don't know if he had shares in sport or whatever, or he was the owner, I don't know. But he always used to be there. So when I got there, Mickey Poole was there. So Steve called me, and so he was staying with Mick, so he called me, so I went to them. So he said to Mick, I've got this young man of mine, so tapping me, blasting. This young man, look, we're going on off season. I don't want him to get chubby and all these things. So can he come to your under 21s there training? They were training under 21s, under 20s rather. Shkurubi, National Maximum Prison. So can he come with and train with you? I don't want him to get, during the off season he might get a bit.
I want him to lose weight.
Yeah, I don't want him to gain. Rather, he didn't say I want him to lose. He said, I don't want him to gain weight. So Mick just looked at me, all right, because the other players, when I got there, I didn't know all these other players, the Wilfred Mgays, George Nechirongas, Nesbet Saruchera, Mandla Balanda, Karim Abdul, younger brother to senior David Ndunduma, Johnny Milanzi, Cheche Billiard. Yes. I didn't know them because they were playing for Caps juniors, and they were aces this and this and this. So they were called because they knew them. They were actually called through the paper or through their coaches. But for me, it was by default. By default. So when I went there, I was a ball boy. Because there were two goalkeepers. There was Karim Abdul and Mario. I can't remember his first name or his last name, whether his first name was Mario or his last name was, but he was from Zisco, Kadomas. Yeah. So there were three of us. But so Mick, since I was just someone who had
just been fixed in,
he didn't have much
attention to you.
So yeah, I would be collecting the cones and the balls when they go out, because the little fence there, they would kick the ball, they would go into the little bush. So I'll jump the fence and I'll go and collect. I didn't mind that, because there was a chicken. There was the prisoners, they grow their own food there. So when we went to the mess, we would get a quarter chicken and chips and rice and all ththese things. So to me, it was all right. It was I loved my food.
That motivated.
That motivated me to stay there. Yeah. But then because I remember we were writing exams already. We were writing our final exams. It's 87.
For which level?
O level. Okay. So we would be taken to schools, or and then dropped there, and then we'd write our exams, and then we would come back, jump into the bus, go back. So unfortunately for Mario, he had to do his exams. Or should I say unfortunately now, because I ended up taking his place. So anyway, he had to go back to Kadoma. So I think he had 2-3 exams he had to write. So he had to spend the whole week there. So it gave me the chance now to be part of
between the posts.
Between the posts now. So, and I remember vividly Abdul, he would be training because he was half caste. And he was closer to the coach, and the coach was a bit tender spot for him. So he'd say, "Oh, my asthma." When he was tired, he didn't like to do something. So he'd say, "I'm asthmatic." All this. I remember. If he's listening, if you are listening, hey, Abdul, remember? You'd say, remember your tricks. You'd say, "I'm asthmatic." You gave me the chance to take over from you, because I ended up taking over.
Okay, right. Tell us about it.
Yes, well, I didn't take over, but it so happened that after that week. I think Mario got a call from there to say, okay, we'll call you next time.
Okay, don't bother coming.
Don't bother coming back. So it was now me and Abdul. It was me and Abdul. You see. Yeah. So we're training. I remember the national team used to use that same field. So they would use the other half, and we would use this half. So this particular day, we're there, we're doing a drill in exercise. So I was in the goal, we're doing this. Abdul was on that side, and I had the ball. And Mick wanted the goalkeeper to throw the ball to a certain player, and then the player would do the tactics now, tactical moves. So from the back, yeah. So all my balls, every time I did, I think 3-4 of them were getting intercepted or something like that.
All right.
So he got so flabbergasted, and then he said to me, he would say, "Chunky!" Come to me, "Chunky, what am I telling you?" He would put his face right in front of you. They would hear, and he was short of the.
Army style.
Because he was in the military.
Really?
He was a military man. Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Yeah. You mentioned that. So then he came and said to me, "You Chunky!" So I was just looking at him, and then he says, "Go around the field, I'll tell you."
What's the punishment for soccer players? If you don't do it right,
go around.
Go around.
So I started going around. So we were using the part which was at the where we used to, where the gate was, the entrance. So the first team, the national team, was on the other side. So I was jogging from here now, going past the first. So I would naturally, as a young boy, I got mesmerized by this man. Yes. So I was jogging and I started walking. watching them and looking at them. And I'm walking, I'm thinking, wow, look at them. Hey, look at the big guys, big thighs, not these players we have these days. They had big thighs. Big calves, I'm looking at David Chikwama, Manza Chikwama, I'm looking at Mutano, I'm looking, all of them, Moses Chunga, I'm thinking, wow, that's Reza. Huh? And then Mick saw me. So I was at the other side. So I said, hey, Chunky! Yeah. So I started jogging. So he met me halfway. Yeah. On the halfway. Yeah. What did I tell you? So I said to him, because I had been trained mentally and physically to deal with Europeans, because I'd been in European settings in schools. Right. So when he was saying these things to me, I said to him, look, I never asked to come here, because I was there when Steve told it. So I said, I never asked to come here. I'm going home. I don't care about this thing. You asked me. I was asked to come here. I didn't say I wanted to come here, so I'm going home. So I started walking out. George Nechironga, Nesbert Saruchera, Silva Chigwenje, Joe Mugabe was there, but Joe Mugabe did not qualify because remember when I was my age, he must be a certain month. So Joe Agaposane, later on he must go home. But Joe was there, Wilfred, and Cheche, Dara,
okay.
Dara, they pleaded with me. So I stayed because of them. If they had not come, I would have walked back to the mess, collected my bag, and walked out and got in a lift and gone home.
Were you a stubborn person? Or are you?
I think I am.
You have the shock absorbers to meet Mick Poo and tell him off at that age.
Well, growing up with brothers like Stan, and you know what I mean. So you had to be. I'm glad I had brothers, big brothers. You know what I mean. So I learned a lot from them. So the toughness came from them. So I suppose that's why maybe I excelled better than over them a little bit, just a little bit, because they were my inspiration. They were my teachers, my first teachers. So yeah, I was a bit stubborn, and I'm stubborn. I know I'm stubborn.
Okay.
But I can back it up.
Okay. All right.
Always back it up. I can back it up. Whatever.
Right. We are at the training session.
Right. So
Mick Poo, did he accept your coming back?
He did. He must have, because I came back and we just started training. I don't remember what happened, whether he came to me and said, I can't remember anything else from there, but I remained there and we trained, and actually got a photo, but it's in it's one of I'll give it to you later. It's in the phone. I left the phone. Under 20 team wearing Chibuku. We used to be sponsored by Chibuku breweries. Right. The last photo before we left for Botswana for the tournament. So
you are there. This guy has not been recalled. You are not the second choice.
There was no second choice then, but for me, I was the second choice, because I was assuming, because he was there already before me. So it was just my assumption that he would be the first and I would be the second. You see, because I didn't call the shots. The coaches knew what they would be doing with the players later on. So this incident, the one I'm telling you about, I met Mkoma Ephraim on Facebook, Chawanda, the Rocky. Yeah. Yes, and I was saying to him, oh yes, remember we used to train together. I said, do you remember this incident? He laughed. He said, I remember that, because they were everyone who was there in Jaffa, they remember it. Because the way he came at me and the stubbornness that I did. So he said, I remember that incident. That was years back. This is now, imagine. We're talking, this is this year. I'm talking to him about this since 87, 88. And he says to me, I remember that incident. You see, because they had to stop training and also check what's going on over there. Because I think, what's his name? Shepard Murabi was the coach. So yeah, so I remember that incident. So anyway, it's interesting when you go back. So we were training, we did our trainings, and I think we played some games, friendly games around here and there, preparing for this tournament. I didn't know that this team was there to go to, because I was just at Aces playing my football, and then I was asked to go there. I didn't ask, when are we going to go? Who are we going to be playing? What tournament is it? I didn't even know it was the CAF tournament or we're training for this. I didn't even care, really. You see, all I was there was when I'm between the goals, I must do what I can do best. So
and after chicken.
After chicken, not just me, all of them. Ask them. I'm sure you're going to do interviews with Silva, with George.
Yes.
They'll tell you the best chicken that I've ever eaten there. Every day, not on Christmas and New Year's. No, every day we were eating chicken.
Which came first? For you to be in between goals in a match scenario, whether at under 20s or at Aces?
At Aces, I was a reserve goalkeeper of the reserves.
Okay.
Back then, the reserve goalkeeper for the reserves would have to play the reserve game, and then 3 o'clock, he goes and sit on the bench. Not like nowadays where they just come out together, the reserve team is there, and then this one is got his reserve already. They just train with, on their own and do their own thing. No, it was not like that. So I would be the reserve. I didn't mind. I didn't even care. I didn't even know. I didn't even think about it like that. That I was a reserve in this, because we would win and I would get my $10 or something. I can't remember what we would get, and there was a schoolboy, remember, so you can imagine. So so it was a bonus to me, and it gave me motivation to go there, saying, I can buy my buns by Machipisa, because there was a shop Machipisa, Ibiga Chingwa, and all these things. I can't remember. They all remember, George, Machipisa, Ibiga Chingwa, and my buns. Would go there and buy my buns. So I loved that. So yeah, I'm digressing now. Your question was,
when did you got the first team jersey? Was it at Aces or under 20s? Because you have told us you were training with the under 20s.
It was under 20s. It was under 20s.
This was the right mistake. Let's hear about it.
It was under 20s.
Club level, you are not in between the posts.
No.
But the under 20s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
How did it happen?
We left for Botswana. We went to study at some school, can't remember. We're just training and doing our things, and we started playing the tournament. So Mick chose me over Abdul.
The first game?
The first game.
Okay.
Until the last game. The last game, I didn't finish the last game because I got kicked in the face, and it was my eyes swollen up, and I couldn't see properly, and I was a bit hazy. I think it was in the 70-something or 80th minute, and then I had to come out. And then Abdul had to come in, and then we won the tournament. You see, so coming back there, we came back with gold. Not so many people know this.
Okay.
Yeah, my first medal in football was a gold medal in Premier League wise. It was a gold medal. So for Zimbabwe under 20s, it used to be called COSAFA. I don't know what they call it now. COSAFA. I think they've got another name for it. It used to be COSAFA tournament. So coming back,
your first time between the posts, you have been chosen by Migpo to be the first team choice.
Right.
How did you feel? I know you are a tough man, you've got shock absorbers, but you have been given, you are now in the tournament, now you know. At first you didn't know where you were going, but now you know.
That I am.
Tell me about the first match.
Wow.
The team card is being called, and it's number 1. Ernest Chirambadare.
Well, I honestly, I cannot remember that, but what I can say is that because my career coming up, I would just, if I was called to go in the goals, I would just know within myself that I had just had to stop balls going in there. You see, so when he chose me, I didn't say, whoa, there wasn't that fear factor, because anyway, we were away from home. Okay. Yeah. My first time to fly.
Oh yeah. I'm coming to that.
And this plane in Emma Windy Miripanapa, and turbulence. I didn't know about turbulence and all these things. We were vomiting and all these things. What an experience.
Yes.
Yeah, so anyway, I cannot say I actually remember the first game saying we played against this team, and then I was feeling this. Obviously, there's a bit of trepidation in there, whether it's not trepidation of saying I'm fearful of the next guy, but how am I going to perform after all that I have put in? You see, it always comes, the toilet, you keep going 5 times before game. Yeah, so that's natural. That comes natural in anything, even an exam, even a driving exam, anything, it comes. So I'm sure I had that, But because we were away from home, and the coach had shown confidence in me, you see, over someone whom I thought he was going to be automatically a first because of his hue, of his complexion, his color being half caste. He was going to be. So for me to have been put in there, I just, knew. And even at training before we left, I could see, I could sense even the other guys, they had more confidence in me.
Okay.
You see, they enjoyed and we became a certain group, tight. And Abdul was there as well, he's my friend, man, big time. But I knew I had something over him. I could do something, when you know. You don't need anyone else to know, to tell you. So I'm sure he would say the same thing, say, I knew I could beat him and this, But at the end of the day, the coach had to make the decision. It wasn't myself who would say, I should be in there or he should be in there. So the one who is looking at us, you see. So I was there, we played all the tournament. I remember I was the goalkeeper of the tournament, I'm sure. On the count that we go to the final and we beat Zambia in the final, and we only had one uniform, one jersey to wear, the national team jersey as well. That's how Zimbabwe was organized then. I don't know if it's organized now. We'll have to check. Yeah, we used to after the game, after whatever game, we wash it, we go. So in Zambia they'll be changing yellow, green, blue, all colors, and we'll be just having our green one. The green one, if you remember, with the white trim, and the Zimbabwe badge here. The national team used to wear that one as well. So that's the one we were using. So and we lifted the trophy. Right. I can't remember the other teams. I know Zambia was there, obviously. Botswana was there.
Right.
Yeah.
The same guys were in the team that you found at the training with Mikpo. They were in the same team. Under 20s.
Oh yes, George, Chironga,
right.
Wilfred, Silva, Mandla Balanda, great player. He actually went to Botswana in the 80s. I think 89 or 88, 89. That's why most people don't know about him. But if he had played here, fantastic player, fantastic winger. Cheche Biliad, Gianni Milanzi, Saruchera, Nesbet, David Ndunduma. Oh gosh, fantastic players. Makenyati, Simon Chuma. Come on. You see, it's just nostalgia. Yeah, great players.
Yeah,
they end up being great in their own. Yeah. Because it was a talented team, that one.
This is your first medal.
Yes.
At Aces, you are playing for the reserves of the reserves.
Yes, I'm the reserve. Yes.
Kwashi is hearing that you were in.
No, he didn't. He's not hearing. I would want to go and see him. He knew. By sending me there, he knew that I was going to be. He knew it. You see, it wasn't that he was asking, as in, he could have asked, why only me?
Okay. From
the reserves, why only me from Aces? Why couldn't he send with another striker and a defender and this and say, oh, these three players of mine, they're going to be like this, why just me? So he knew.
Okay.
At the back of it, he knew that if I go there, you see, he knew. So he was preparing me. So when I came out of that tournament, I had experience now. Yeah. Imagine playing for the national team at the national level at that age, 17, 18, and winning the medal. So coming back, he didn't trust me into the first team because I was first team choice over there. Manu Wanyaoma, fantastic goalkeeper, man. I learned a lot from him. Yes. Shumba. Yeah. So it was all also by default. It was also by default how I got to play for the first team in Aces. Because I remember Aces, Blue Line Aces had a game under front lights at Trufaro. Can't remember against what team. And Emmanuel Nyama got injured. He got this cheekbone of his hit and it broke. So he was out for some weeks, if not months.